Hey guys, Big Dan Bates here with Bates Photography. Today I wanted to do a video on one of my new favorite toys, the a6500, as it's paired with the Zeiss 51.4. The Zeiss 51.4 is no joke. It is very heavy for its size. It's much larger. I have a Sony 51.8, which is like the econo lens when we first started out. Couldn't really afford $1,500 lenses. It's literally a $300 lens, but that thing shoots amazing. So when I was able to get this guy, I just knew it was going to be great. I know it was going to probably blow the other one away. Shockingly enough, if I'm being completely honest, the other one did a very good job. This does an excellent job. But the margin between the Sony 51.8 and the Sony Zeiss 51.4 is not as drastic as I thought it was going to be. This lens is awesome. I don't think it goes to... I don't think that disparagement in being not as great as I thought it was going to be, I don't think it goes against this lens. I think it just goes to show that the other lens is actually a very good lens for a value lens. This lens is amazing. It's very heavy for its size. It is, I wish I had that 50 here. I don't. I think it's in my wife's camera bag. I wish I had it to show you the difference in size. It's heavy, it's built well, there's a ton of glass in there. I have a UV filter, which is nothing more than an element protector on here. What I found interesting is when I first opened it up, I see the front, I'm like, man, look at all that glass. But in actuality, the actual lens inside there, there's a good ½ inch all the way around that's not lens. So I was a little excited about, like, when my 85 is just so much glass, you know, you get excited about it. It wasn't as much glass as I thought, but it is, it's interesting the way that it's made on the front like that. It is it's 72 millimeter thread size for anybody who may want a filter or a neutral density filter or a polarizer. It's 72 millimeters. You'll see here, we can show some of the features on it. So really, there's only 3 real things that you can tinker with on this lens. So the first here is your aperture ring. And your aperture ring, you can switch it from 1.4 to 16 to manually set aperture, or all the way to the little red A, and that gives you automatic. So it's controlled by the camera. Then on this side we have click, on, off. Hopefully that is focusing on that. So you have on, off. And what that is if you're doing videography with this, if you're shooting some sort of video, when I roll this, I don't know how well if you can hear it, there's a definite click. If I switch that to off, it's silent. This would really only be applicable for making a video. You want to do one of those crazy things where, you know, everything's in focus and then you bring it down to that tight depth of field just on that person's face. Create some neat visual effects. Even if you're not doing drastic, you just want to bump it up a little bit. You're filming and you realize maybe some of the background that you want in focus is not in focus. You can make that adjustment with no pollution to your audio. And then the other changeable feature, I guess, is the autofocus, manual focus switch. Obviously, shouldn't really have to be explained. That is autofocus or manual focus. Again, this will override the camera's settings. So if I switch this to manual focus, it's manual focus. Even if my camera's on autofocus continuous, it's manual focus. And put it back to auto, it's autofocus based upon what the camera dictates. The ring, obviously, it's a prime, so this is merely a focus ring. And it moves with a little resistance, but it's very smooth. And it's a very wide, rippled ring. Now, one thing I did notice about this tends to seem a lot more plasticky than some of the rubbery ones. But where that has actually benefited is this doesn't look like it's been used as a lint roller. Some of my other lenses that have the rubbery, well, those Batis lenses don't really have what I'm talking about, but I mean, you guys probably already know, it just, right out of the box, it just seems like every piece of lint in your room just shoots right to that rubber ring. So, this shoots 50 millimeter, but I am pairing this with my a6500. Now, this is a crop body, and therefore it'll actually shoot at 75 equivalent. And what's nice about that is it'll be basically a true portrait lens. You know, a true portrait lens, depending on which video you watch or what class you take, varies between 75 to 90. Some people like to shoot at 135. Some people like to shoot with a true 50. It's all personal taste, and the bottom line is all that distance, whether it's a head shot, a torso shot, a full body shot, let your feet do the talking. Move up, move back. It's really just that simple. Now, this video is a lens review, but it's part of my a6500 video series that I'm making here. And the reason being, all these lenses are being paired with the a6500 to show you basically how they shoot on the a65. You wouldn't think it would be any different, but we've come across a couple of lenses that actually shoot better on the a6500, primarily because of in-body stabilization. This is not, and there are some, we'll say, misprints on the internet that this actually has some sort of optical stabilization. It does not. The Zeiss 50 1.4 ZA Sony Zeiss does not have stabilization. So that made a huge difference once I put it on my 6500. With this lens being as heavy as it is, this a6500 has a thicker reinforced mount plate, which works very well considering the weight of this compared to this. So we link this up on here. You see kind of what it looks like size-wise on the camera body. It's a little heavy. I'm a very big guy. Aside from being fat, I'm just overall big. I have big meaty hands, so the improved grip on the 6500 also works well with this lens. It really gives you more to hold on to. I shoot just one-handed all the time, even back body focus, or I mean my eye autofocus, which is mapped from the factory to the center button. I'm always using that to shoot my models, and I can handle it very well, even though it is heavy. That's me. As a smaller person, some of more daintier hands may feel the need to shoot two-handed, which is proper, I realize, but I'm a little unconventional. So I really don't know what more to say about it. What I've done so far with it has been incredible. We're going to go out here in the field this afternoon with one of our girls that we use, Rachel, and take some photos in the field with it. Just a very brief video. Some of my videos tend to get long. I just want to give a couple of sample shots, sample images, if you will, of the Sony Zeiss 50 paired with the a6500 and how well it takes pictures. Because it is a prime lens, there's to do a review on it, there's really not a lot to go over as far as, you know, at different zoomed all the way in or zoomed all the way out drop off or compression or anything like that. So all I'm really going to be dealing with here with these photos is basically just clarity, sharpness, fall off on the corners, things like that. So we're going to head out to the field. We're going to take some shots. I'm going to show you some samples live as we're shooting. I'm going to have them just, you know, come up on the video like I do. And then after that section of the video, I'm going to just put up some stills that I've shot with this, not just from that photo shoot, but in general. Just to see its sharpness and its clarity. A lot of sharpness and clarity can be user error, but paired with the a6500 and that in-body stabilization, user error almost is eliminated. It's an amazing combination. So we're going to round up our girl, and my wife and I will be heading out to the field. Now Eileen, who you've seen some of her Eileen Edits videos and things like that, we're our team. We're a husband and wife photography team. This is her first time ever videoing with one of these mirrorless Sony cameras. So we'll see how well it goes. Either way, I hope it's going to be a good video. I hope you guys get something from it, and if nothing else, hopefully it'll kind of settle your mind or change your mind if you were undecided on what lens to get. I will say this: if you have the money, this is awesome. If you're trying to find a value lens, I wouldn't even worry about going to the Sony Zeiss 1.8. I would go right to the Sony 50 1.8 for $300, or if you get the full frame, the FE version, $350. It is an incredible lens. Again, that's not to knock this lens. This lens is outstanding. It's more about praising Sony for what they did with that lens. I mean, there's a reason it's the best-selling lens on Amazon. So with that, I'm going to round up my girls, head out to the field, and I'll be right back at you. Hey guys, Dan Bates here, back again. We're in the field now with the 50, and we're here with our beautiful model, Rachel. You want to tell them where they can see you?
My name is Rachel Meyer, and my Facebook is probably, as you guessed it, Rachel Meyer. Yeah, you can find me there if you want to contact me.
A little noisy here. We are literally under a highway trying to get some cool shots here. We have the Explorer 600 set up, and we're going to see how this Zeiss 50 pairs up with the a6500. Now, as I said earlier, it's a pretty substantial lens compared to the 50 1.8, the Sony that comes, the kind of $299 lens. It's much larger, much heavier. Fortunately, the 6500 has that reinforced mount, so it holds it well. It does feel a little heavy to the hand, but it doesn't feel like it's straining the body at all. So we're going to take some shots here and see what it looks like. Alright, so the 50 on the crop frame sensor is equivalent actually to a 75, so it makes for a pretty good portrait lens. So I'm about 6-8 feet away from Rachel. We're going to do a shot. Triangle out your arm. There you go. Maybe bring that arm up like this, or maybe touch the hair a little bit. Try a little that way. So portrait mode. I'm about from mid-thigh up at this distance with it, and straight on. Beautiful. Straight on, we're looking at mid-torso up with a little bit of space around her in case we're trying to crop the different sizes. So that extra little oomph it gives with that 75 translation to the 35 format, it gives it a little bit closer. It makes it feel more like a real portrait lens. Alright, probably as you turn, let's say press up on, yeah, you're going to press up on the log. The column, I'm sorry. Look back over your shoulder. Adjust my score here. I actually got a good shot of your ring on that. Alright, stay right there. I'm going to come around this way. Kind of have you like looking around there. Someone's done this before. Alright. I'm going to have you come out this way. I want to shoot you here with the sky behind you. Marlene, if you can carefully move around behind us here. Alright, so I want to see. Probably get a little closer. Make sure it's illuminated. So let's see how we're doing here. So when you're shooting obviously against the sun or a bright sky, you want to expose for the sky and let your let your flash pop the model. Go up actually a little bit more. Try to darken that sky just a hair more. I'm actually going to swing around this way. I want you to stay there, face that way. Face your body that way, and then, yeah, look at me. Trying to get that sun come through. That's really cool, actually. Now my wife's getting antsy. We'll do a couple more here because this is just examples. Is all we're doing. So we're going to do a couple more shots, and then you'll be able to see more of Rachel on our Facebook, and we'll probably post a couple more pictures on our Facebook, batesphoto.net facebook.com/batesphoto.net. All right, I want to have you looking up kind of at the sun. So here are some more examples of what we shot that day. Some under the highway, others at a park we moved to. They all really demonstrate great clarity. They were all just edited in Lightroom. I don't really do Photoshop. This is probably more of a drastic edit than I normally do, just because of the scene we were trying to set. But you see good clarity, good contrast, good color rendering. Everything about the lens is just great. As far as the compression, or not compression, the clarity in the corners go, we really don't see any issues here. There's no real drop off of light or anything because we are shooting on a crop sensor. On a full frame, that may very well be different. But for our intents and purposes, for the a6500, it's a great lens. I couldn't recommend it enough. Thanks again for watching.